Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another visual novel. I'm your host, Will, and this is.
Pikamain. I am rolling at a disadvantage.
What the
I
fuck
don't
are
know
you
what
talking about?
I don't know what it means. I just remembered. Rolling at a disadvantage. Maybe I could add that to my intro, even though I don't know anything about it.
Rolling at a disadvantage is on D&D when you're trying to do an action that is not favorable currently. Like, for example, if you were like knocked prone on the ground, and then you
I
tried
rolled
to
a nat
like
20.
bitch, and if and you tried to like jump away from an attack, it would be rolled with disadvantage because you are on the ground. And also that nat 20 would
Oh.
not mean anything because it's disadvantage, you take the lowest one.
Ah.
Anyway, completely D&D things aside, we have a visual novel. Minotaur Hotel. Yeah. Which is a visual novel that it took them sending a singular devlog about their progress on the newest chapter for me to remember how much I love this visual novel, and so we're going to fucking boom. I sing Starry-Eyed Asterion. Here, air, yeah, higher, fucking
the
pronunciation.
year. The year of day and night.
Uh, air. Okay.
Yeah.
I sing of starry-eyed Asterion, heir of day and night, sea and death, whose story I witnessed, and now the muses sing. Lord Zeus, spur your daughters to grant beauty as sweet sounding, as was unceasing the hospitality of Poseidon's son. His home has many doors, as there are stars in the skies, and yet none are locked, much like his heart used to. At the center of it all is a temple, one with a cracked basin where once raged a great and gentle fire, in homage to Hestia. The basin was surrounded by a pool of clear water, but as its edges grew pinnacles brought forth by the princess seaworthy eager. Farewell, starry heir to the sun, earthbound son of Poseidon. Feathers float on the Styx surface as you make your way to princely androgynous in asylum, resting place of heroes. Starry night and the cosmos went on. My brother did not. Oh, I know who this is. Yep, don't worry about it. And so,
What?
fuck. And so farewell, proud son of Poseidon, whose ashes dot the sea. And thank you, sweet singing muses, who granted talent to this peasant, even for a single night of mourning. She'll remember you and another song too. You don't remember much about that night. Your travels had taken you far from home. You are definitely halfway dead. Nope, that's not the line. Shut up. Your travels had taken you far from home. You were halfway dead after all the nights tossing and turning under unfamiliar ceilings. It was 3 a.m., and it felt as if you hadn't slept in a proper bed for at least 2 nights. You were pulling out all the spirit you had left to keep you going, grinding your mind to dust. And drinking water so you can breathe, because this voice makes you lightheaded for some stupid fuck-ass reason.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know. Great voice you picked as the number. Yeah, I'm gonna change that. Fuck that. But it would soon be over. You were so close to home. Just one more bus ride. One long enough for a good night's sleep. Until then, however, you had to keep yourself awake. You got up and set out to explore the station. The whole place was a sorry sight. It didn't have much, and what little it had was poorly maintained. The bathroom was an atrocious mess. The lobby's floor was stained with age. The asphalt on the terminals was crackling. Even so, it had been built to last. decorated with brutal obsidian pillars cut right out of the earth itself, and marble tiles polished into labyrinthine patterns. The walls were lined with statues in a grotesque style, their exaggerated expressions locked with eye-dyed screams. The ceiling was covered with latticed reproductions of paintings. Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam, and, a bit up ahead, Picasso's Guernica. The lobby seemed to extend forever onwards, lined with either side by rows of closed-down stores. The elevator music playing from some unseen speaker was enough of a distraction to keep you going. A sudden crackling of static broke the song. You had found your way into a cafe, populated solely by an old radio and an even older gentleman. His skin was paper thin. He held a cup of coffee, and every time he sipped from it, his shaking hands would spill half the contents. The old man's glazed gaze passed over you a few dozen times before he realized you were there. As soon as he looked at you, he patted the stool beside him and shook his hand in your direction. He poured a cup for you. You sit, hunched over the counter, and take a sip. A breeze of life pours over your face. You can't even register what it tastes like. You just know right then and there that you are alive and wide awake. You look to your side, to the old man. His face is contorted into some form of distress, lips quivering as his eyes dart to and fro. He puts his hand over each of his pockets, face still locked in fear, till his right hand falls over his breast pocket. He breathes a sigh of relief and looks at you. He starts talking, but not in a language you understand. He's not even looking at you. His gaze wanders around with seemingly no goal, but eventually he finds a thread you can follow.
You seem like a traveler type. You remind me of.
He hesitates, glances around, mulls over his words.
Yes. You remind me of myself in my younger days.
He looks ahead, then takes a sip of his drink. You catch a glimmer in his eyes, a sudden wakefulness.
I was a fool. Never settled down and squandered my one chance at a proper life. Felt the road would always take me in. Ended up throwing away the one place I could call a home. It's been rotting for who knows how long now I'm old. Always wondered if someone would ever take over and treat it right. Now, you do remind me of myself, but I wasn't a good man. Hopefully, you don't have the mean streak I had.
Well, I'm far from perfect, but I do try my best.
If that's so, I suppose that's as good as it gets. At least nowadays, you can try. Back in my day, my father treated me like dirt, and no one batted an eye. I saw that happen a lot. Too. I wasn't the only one. It made beasts out of my siblings and I, having a father like that. But don't think I'm blaming him. You can only point the finger at your dad for so long, eh? At least eventually I found a way to make a living. How about you, young man? Have you found a calling?
Gamer.
No, incorrect. Choose your background. The options are humanities. You are better at crafting contracts and can get additional options from them. You're also good at handling bureaucratic situations. Leader, you are charismatic and a good mediator in conflicts. You are able to make some choices that are fixed for other backgrounds. Arts. You have vast knowledge of literature, arts, and architecture. You can make renovations to the hotel that bring in additional guests. Tech, you are knowledgeable about computer systems, programming, and engineering. You can lend additional help in tech RED projects. Fuck. Math, you are analytical and thorough. You have access to additional information that leads to better team management and optimization. And Speedrunner, you get additional loot from exploration and return a danger event to your advantage. Good for second playthroughs. This is not a second playthrough, so we're going later.
I do speedruns for a living.
No, you don't.
Good, good. Speedrunners are always needed.
Read the line proper, you fucking bitch.
Good, good. Leaders are always needed. And always will be.
The old man rambles in the same language from before. Sometimes he'll stop and stare at you, as if expecting a response. A nod or a grunt is enough to get him going again. His voice becomes graver and deeper as the night goes on. It is soothing in a way, even if at times he'll again allude to having a rough, sorrowful past. Eventually, he stops and his gaze seems to shine with lucidity once more.
I must say I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid I never asked for your name.
Well, since I'm the main character, I'll use my name.
Isn't there a default name?
No, there isn't.
I'm glad to meet you, no name.
Shut up. Glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you, no name.
Glad
What
to
a
meet
wonderful
you,
name
Mo.
your parents gave you.
Glad to meet you, Space.
I'm glad I met you, Will.
The old man's eyes become glazed again, and his hand starts shaking. Coffee spills everywhere, but it's gone cold already.
What if we name the main character MC?
That's gonna be the name that is gonna be referred to for the rest of the goddamn visual novel. Please
And
have
you
an
want it to
actual
be-
name. And the reason why I picked my name is because it's easier. Why do you have a problem with me being the main character of the visual novel?
It's not that.
Then what is it?
My brain. I'm terrible at coming up with names, so whenever I try to think of one, my brain kind of malfunctions.
Then don't think about it and just keep reading.
You seem like a well-traveled man. Oh, traveling when I was young was so difficult. Nowadays, you can be on the other side of the globe in a day or two. Oh, how the world has changed. There was this one time I talked with my brother just about this topic. Back home, there was this vineyard where we would spend so many summers. Eating and drinking. I remember it so well. It's like a moving picture.
I did not know that vineyard was pronounced like that. I always pronounced it as vineyard, but no, it's vineyard. You pronounced it correctly. Congratulations. What do you want? It's literally vine and yard together. Why wouldn't it be vineyard? Stop!
No, I understand your pain.
Well, yeah. How many times I've made you like correct your pronunciation, Lamau?
Shut up.
Shut up.
You know what he told me? When we were young, there was so much wonder and magic around us.
Oh shit.
Stop yawning, Lamau.
Wow, why didn't I think of that? I wholeheartedly agree with you, you fucking Sorry. Sorry.
I'm joking, I'm joking, I'm joking.
I'm joking.
You're fine.
We're a mess. I'm sorry.
It's true. We could walk down the road, a stony little thing from Roman times. And when we were children, once or twice every week, we'd see ghosts rising from
Well, help.
I also don't know how it's pronounced.
we'd see ghosts rising from cranes and crosses to mingle about.
I do not
Karen.
know. Karen's.
No, Karen.
Karen?
Yes, the S is silent.
So you Karen?
Yes.
Huh.
Which is Karen's. No, okay, wait, hold on. Bestie is giving me the exact same pronunciation for the singular and the plural. That incorrect. I'm guessing
my
you add
God.
the Karens or something. Anyway,
I
moving
don't.
on.
We don't know.
Moving on.
But things have changed so much. I think it's the technology. Spirits and the arcane don't mix well with it. Or maybe it's something in the eyes. My brother, he used to say it's because mankind lack piety nowadays. The unknown is not as frightful either. So much mystery has been lost. And so, the bridge with the fantastical broke down.
The old man freezes for a moment, then looks back to you.
Oh, I was rambling again, wasn't I? I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. That's interesting to hear. Yep, that's... I've seen a thing or two which I can't see science ever explaining. The world is a much more mysterious place than we'd like to think. Perhaps fantastical things aren't as common, but they manage to slip by the cracks every once in a while. Anyone who travels as much as I did will eventually stumble on something of this sort. Or perhaps the supernatural is still out there, speaking in whispers instead of speaking plainly.
Whispers. You are quite a sensible young man. There is humility in sensing how much there is out there, yet to be learned. But, yes, you seem good. After all, get in the cauldron.
Stop! No potions out of me!
Perhaps you will do. Here, I'd like you to have this. I'm sure you'll take better care of it than I did.
The old man takes an old paper. Fuck you! The old man takes an old piece of paper from his breast pocket and extends it to you.
The deed for the place I told you about. The one I squandered. I'm old, tired. I would like someone to have it. I've been looking for an heir for a while now. And I don't quite feel like I have any more time to waste. Just take it. It's yours. A grandiose place. A hotel. Time's taking a toll. But you will love it. Just please, take good care of it. Be good. Give him a purpose.
You raise an eyebrow at him. Does this old man try to give you a hotel just like that? Now who would do that? His wandering gaze betrays his senility. At times he seems outright confused, as if he didn't know how he got here in the first place. You can't take it. It wouldn't be right to take advantage of someone like him. And that's assuming that a piece of paper is a deed. It might just be a used napkin with a nice seal. The old man wanders around, with his hand still extended. He squints his eyes at you, then looks down to the paper. He struggles to put his thoughts together, but for a brief moment his expression grows firm and lucid.
You must think I'm crazy, but please understand. This is my last chance to do it right. Just take the deed.
The old man offers you a deed for a property. Do you accept? No, Lamar. I'm joking. You give in to the old man's pleas. You're just accepting a piece of paper after all. It's probably nothing. And if it is indeed something important, fuck. You give in to the old man's pleas. You're just accepting a piece of paper after all. It's probably nothing, and if it indeed is something important, you can try returning it. You obtained the old deed. To check your items, open the menu and go to the item subscreen. We are not doing that. This old piece of parchment looks unimaginably ancient. Older than you, that's for sure. But the wax on it seems reasonably new, perhaps even fresh. You break open the seal and examine the paper's contents. It's gibberish, written in an alphabet you've never seen before. Well, it would seem like this was all for nothing. You stick the deed in your jacket's pocket. You look back up to the old man. The corners of his mouth wrinkle, and he shakes ever so slightly. But his joy is short-lived. His gaze wanders once again. When his focus returns to you, he furrows his brow, taking in each of your features one at a time. The old man mumbles something to himself, takes a sip of his coffee, and smiles.
You are very kind, young man.
He does remember your name, at least. You check your wristwatch, and the numbers too have turned into gibberish. You take it you've spent too long here. You collect your luggage, say your farewell to the old man, and thank him for the wonderful coffee. He subtly bows to you.
Well, it is I who ought to be grateful. It was a great pleasure dealing with you.
You leave the cafe and make your way to the bus terminal. The station is deserted, save for a single man smoking a cigarette outside the cafe. You greet him with a nod, and he responds in kind. Aside from the old man, he is the only person you find, but maybe that ought to be expected at this time of night. You make your way through the empty station. There's no one to greet you at the boarding platform. The bus is so dark you can barely make out the driver's silhouette. As soon as you sit down and recline, you try to process the night's events, but your thoughts skitter away. It's so hard to say for sure exactly how long you've been traveling. All the airports, truck stops, train stations, and ports mixed together. The restlessness of unending travel is the only constant. It doesn't take long for you to give up. A merciful warmth seeps from your chest as you fall asleep. This would be the perfect time to end, but the recording is so short, so I'm gonna keep going.
Chapter 1, the hotel.
Chapter 1, the hotel, a few days later. The horizon sprawls across the stained windshield.
Oh my fucking god!
Now, the horizon sprawls across a stained windshield. The radio's tune has disintegrated into static. The AC can't keep up with the sun's heat on the car's roof. The desert stretches on the entire horizon ahead, a wasteland of flat, yellowed plains. To the right, about 100 meters from the road, the dusty soil gives way to a sharp cliff. A valley peeks out beneath it, stretching to the blue horizon. You check the deed again. Couldn't read it at first. Maybe you were too tired. But now the once gibberish characters make some sense to your brain. It's like reading a language that had branched off from your native tongue a few centuries prior. It is just alien enough to be unrecognizable at first. However, when you squint hard enough, you find that the characters remind you of your alphabet, and then the word's meaning pops up in your mind. It's unsettling, in a way. It feels as if your brain is shifting from inside out the more you look into it. But try as you might, it's hard to even acknowledge this discomfort, and melts away at the blink of an eye. You squint at the deed. Just an hour or so ago, you had checked it and realized how close you were to the address. So you got into your car and set out, with a newfound curiosity and a nagging anxiety fighting it out on your chest. Maybe the old man really had given you something of value after all, not a worthless scrap of paper. Could it really be? You got a deed for a hotel from a senile man in a cafe. Sure, not many would complain about getting something for free like that, but at the same time, most would argue it feels wrong. The hotel should be just farther ahead. You turn on the engine and set off again.
Meow.
Fucking shut up. Bitch slap. Anyway. It pops up on the horizon just 5 minutes later. While later you pull into its gravel parking lot. It's like looking back in time. It must have been one of the greater hotels of the 30s and 40s. It's built entirely out of marble in an Art Deco style. It's majestic, grandiose even, but utterly ruined by age and made eerie by its surroundings. Who thought building such an incredible place in a desert would be a good idea? You look to the infinite horizon behind you. There's nothing aside from the hotel. No plants of any kind, no cacti, brush, or even dead trees. Only a hotel, in the middle of a desert, built on top of the cliff's wall, and a yawning narrator shut up. No animals either. The sky is blue without a cloud or bird of prey in sight. The ground beneath you has no bugs, not even a scorpion or a spider. There were no other cars on the road either. You look back into your car's panel. The odometer indicates you've only driven about 4 miles. Your car's hood is cool to the touch, as if it had been off for hours. You look back to the hotel as you think about all those details. Something catches your eye, however. A porch overlooking the valley beneath the hotel. The valley stretches to the cloudless horizon, framed to the right and left by more cliffs. Looking down to the bottom, you can just make out the outline of a dry riverbed stretching out. You notice there's a cave opening in the cliff wall, right below the hotel. Its exit is lined with statues, the details of which you can't make out at this distance. Right outside, there are rocky tiles spreading out in pathways. You'd wager a guess it made for a labyrinth of sorts when the river still flowed. The maze ends with a single pathway leading to High Mound, which would have easily stood as an island in the middle of the flooded valley. The region's terrain is much like the hotel. It may have been beautiful a long time ago. Now it's eaten away by time. Your reflection is broken as a more pressing matter sneaks up on you. The heat. Regardless of the weirdness around you, there is no escaping the sweltering sun. You walk to the entrance. The doors are unlocked. It's hard to tell for how long this place had been abandoned. The building itself surely is old. The exterior is severely decayed. It wouldn't be surprising if the interior is teeming with wild animals, rotten walls, and fallen pieces of ceiling. But instead, it's just dusty. Humid and stagnant too. The walls are water damaged, and there's a lot of mold. However, it's not as bad as one would think. You call out...
I would totally explore this place. For the shit and giggles.
Yep, and then fall in a hole and die.
Yep. That's how I roll.
You call out in the hopes of someone, anyone, might be there. Maybe some squatterers. But just like the outside, there's no signs of life at all in the hotel. You walk up to the reception. The counter is as dusty as you'd expect, and there are pens and yellowed pieces of paper strewn about. It seems whoever was here left this place in a hurry, who knows how many years ago. There's a door behind the reception desk, which leads you to a small but dignified office that seems to have been left under a similar state of hurry. There are even portraits on the table showing black and white pictures of a smiling family. On the corner of the room, there's a rusted safe. Which one should you investigate? Fuck you, we're continuing. On the desk is a ledger. Like everything else in the hotel, its pages are yellowed and wrinkly, but it's still readable. It contains a list of guests, their respective rooms, check-in and check-out dates, signatures, and so on. The last guest arrived back in 1944. To be more precise, someone attempted to check in on that date, but was interrupted in the process. All the following pages in the ledger are blank. You find a second, leather-bound ledger as well. This one has staff written on it in flicking gold paint. It lists all the employees in the hotel during 1944, their country of origin, role, and a few have a star scribbled beside their name. This place employed quite a number of people. More than 50, in fact. There doesn't seem to be anything else you can deduce from this ledger. Which one should you investigate? It's one of the old-timey safes you'd see in movies from the 90s, with the spinning dial and all. You prepare yourself to try and crack the password. Except it's already unlocked, albeit rusty. Brazil! I know that language.
Sverige!
What?
Sverige.
Is that...
Sweden.
Is that Sweden in Swedish?
Yeah. That's Swedish Sweden. That's our word for Sweden. Sverige.
What's the word in Sweden for Portugal?
Fuck. I just need to double check.
Take your time.
I think it's Portugal.
Port of Gales, yes, correct.
Portugal.
So literally Portugal, but with a Swedish accent.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what Sweden is in Portuguese?
What is it?
Suecia.
Yo.
We are going to do nothing with that information. What?
What about America?
Do you want the full United States of America or just America?
Let's just go with America.
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 It's literally just the name, but with our accent. It's so funny.
Australia.
Australia.
Australian.
Just so you're aware, United States of America is Estados Unidos da América.
It's for Sweden. I don't fully remember. We usually just say USA or America.
Yeah.
But if I had to guess, samlade staterna för Amerika.
Yeah, we usually just say America or EUA. You know, the start. We usually just say America, actually. I never heard anyone say EUA. Because America is so much easier to say. Anyway, moving on. There's only a stash of booklets inside it, for passports, all from different countries. Unsurprisingly,
Oh,
what?
so United States of America in Swedish is Amerikanske Förenade Stater. Huh.
Okay.
I'm still learning.
You're still learning Swedish.
I'm learning Swedish.
Congratulations.
Ever
You learn
had like
something
one of
new
those?
every day.
Ever had one of those moments with your language where you learn something completely new?
Yes.
in your
Yes.
language?
Definitely. Unsurprisingly, they're all expired. There doesn't seem to be anything special about them. But it's strange that someone would keep passports in an office like this. You take a moment to go over the ledgers and passports together. A cursory glance reveals the pattern. The passports are from the 4 employees with stars beside their names. You take them with you and leave the ledger on the table. You obtained the passports. You return to the reception to continue looking around. Up ahead is a tall spiral staircase going both up and down. There are multiple paths branching out from the lobby. You take one of the hallways leading down to the bedrooms. Find all the doors unlocked. Much like the lobby, the bedroom's rotting walls were consumed by time. Walking into them disturbed the fine mist of stagnant spores and dust, which is turned into a curtain of diamonds by the sun shining through the windows. Each bedroom was equipped with at least one king-sized bed. The springs were busted more often than not, and the fabric yellowed. But not even such desolation could hide the past glory of this place. You returned back to the hallway, which seemed to stretch forever onward. From outside, the hotel had looked big, but not nearly sprawling enough to have a ground floor with over 100 bedrooms. No matter how many twists and turns you took, the hallway never robbed back into itself. Backtracking all the way back to the lobby was the only option. The spiral staircase seemed much more inviting than wandering the seemingly endless hallways. Over the staircase, all the way up, there was a skylight draping the sun's warmth over your shoulders. It was a lighthouse, guiding travelers to this once majestic hotel. The way down was as ominous as the skyline was graceful. Skylight, not skyline. Shut up. The marble handrails were lined with burnt-out lamps, as it was impossible to see much in the darkness down below. The second floor was mostly bedrooms, again. But here, the outer hallways were lined with sprawling windows, showing a courtyard behind the hotel, close to the cliff's edge. Hello. It was a sight... Excuse me. It was a sight to behold. While the hotel was consumed by time, the garden outside had flourished. It was a field brimming with white flowers swaying in this wretched desert wind. At center was a statue of a man and a dog. The flowers rose up to the man's knees and only the top of the dog's head could be seen. The man's hand was outstretched, as if beckoning the flowers to grow taller for people to approach. The garden seemed a more inviting adventure. You descended back down the marble staircase, brimming with clarity, and it felt like a cloak or a hug was draped over your back. You took the hallway leading further towards the hotel's back, and a single turn to the right brought you to a vast room. Right beside its entrance was a bar, and to the left tables, couches, and reclining chairs. Further left, there was a tall window of stained glass, like the ones in a cathedral, and through a glass door beside its window was the garden. The wind blowing through the garden sent out a long, continuous whistle. From this low angle, the statue seemed like a king, tall yet humble, beckoning its dear subjects. Flowers swayed back and forth in the singing wind, and the dog's head was barely visible above them. Its ears were pricked up, and its tongue lolled out from its grinning mouth. Behind the statue, beyond the courtyard, was a railing. Oh! Behind. I was yawning. Behind the statue, beyond the courtyard, was a railing overlooking the drop into the valley below. As you walked around the statue, you noticed out of the corner of your eye that the dog seemed to have turned its head to follow you. Hi, Serby. You looked back. The dog statue hadn't budged, but instead, it was gazing right at you. You patted the flowers and walked up to it, and that's when you noticed the dog had 3 heads, one staring forward, and one off looking to either side. All 3 of them exuded warmth. You petted one of its heads, and noticed how worn the marble was. People have been petting him for a very long time. Then, you made your way to the cliff's edge. Once more you were greeted by the valley. Straight down, far below, you could see the statue-lined cave exit. You could only wonder how vibrant this land must have been ages ago, when the valley fuck. You could only wonder how vibrant this land must have been ages ago, when the valley's river still flowed. You go back inside, into the vast room. It seems dark, but intimate, now that your eyesight is used to the exterior's brightness. You can still notice the whistling coming from outside. You take a sit at the bar. This newfound darkness is smooth, soft as velvet. It's like being in a candlelit lounge. Behind the counter, the bottles of fine spirits are still half filled. They glimmer in the exquisite browns, reds, and blues. You close your eyes and imagine how this place was decades ago. The whistling shifts again, turns into the hum of human life. Footsteps and breathing, chairs being dragged, cutlery and plates clinking. Laughter, whispers, people greeting each other from across different tables. People dressed so nicely. Barman in front of you, serving the finest drinks you can imagine. He knows your name and how you like it. Whether you are tired or brimming with life, he lends you an attentive ear. You open your eyes. You are back in the abandoned hotel, majestic and destroyed. One can understand why the old man wished to pass it on to someone who would care for it. You tap your jacket's breast pocket, making sure the crumpled parchment is still there. Even the yellowed, stained paper exudes warmth now. You stand up and walk out. As you do so, you notice a large purple stain on the floor behind the counter, and the glass shards of what used to be the wine bottle. You proceed further into the hotel. There was still a lot to see. All the way down the hallway was a set of sliding glass doors beckoning you. From afar, the difference is clear. The wallpaper is ripped, and one of the doors is cracked. You step on something hard. A revolver bullet. You push the door to the side and are greeted by an even more chaotic sight. It's a hotel's restaurant. The tables are overturned. Both chairs and plates lay broken on the floor. There's a darkened stain in the middle of the room which trails into the kitchen. It leads you past the pantry and to the massive iron door of a cold room, which is locked from outside and boarded up. All around the kitchen things are strewn about. There's even a pan on the stove with what must be fossilized food, and the sink is filled with dirty dishes. On a nearby counter is a revolver covered in thick dust, and you can think back to the bullet in the hallway and the stain on the restaurant floor. The old man wasn't kidding when he said he wasn't a good person. You check your phone. Perhaps you'll need to call the police or a morgue, but there's no signal out here. You breathe in, preparing yourself for a terrible sight. The restaurador fights against your will, but stands no chance. Darkness pours out. The stench strikes first. It's the stagnant smell of blood and rot. It clings to your nose and mouth like a bitter oil. Before your eyes can adjust to the darkness, a second wave of stench hits. It's like a farm, too. The stench of dusty fur, maybe even hay, but cooped up in a hot, humid room for decades. And last but not least, stale shit and piss. This place has it all. The stench of 1,000 different deaths. The light pouring into the cold room shines on the floor in front of the doorway. Empty cans of soup and Glasses of jam are strewn about over the trail of old blood. Whoever was locked in here didn't die quickly. The cold room extends into absolute darkness, a hallway in and of itself. You proceed scraping your shoes on the floor so you don't trip over the refuse. The entire floor is covered with discarded glasses and cans. Whatever scraps were left in them has long rotted, dried, and crumbled into dust. Both your footsteps and breathing echo. The overbearing humidity drapes across your back, and your breathing becomes agitated. The stench is stronger. Your sight finally adapts to the dark. At what must be the cold room's far wall, you notice the faintest glimmer. Hi, bestie. Hi, baby girl. Whatever it is, it's slouched on the floor, motionless, as if it died where it stood after who knows how long locked here. A shy blue glimmer, however, flickers where its left eye ought to be. What do you do? Your eyesight is used to the dark now. Just as the pillar of light bleeding from the doorway is enough to avoid tripping on the discarded glass. You crouch in front of the thing. It has a bull's head. You look around its neck, searching for a zipper or the edge of a mask, but there is none. It's covered in fur, aside from the patches of sickly exposed skin. It has hooves instead of feet. Its horns could easily gore a person. Half of its skull is exposed. The bone still has a smattering of blood dust near the remaining flesh. Its left eye socket is empty, but something shines inside of it. A blue ember. The fur is coarse and unkempt, but can't hide how deathly thin this creature was. It died from starvation, not from whatever destroyed its face. That's enough. You stand up and turn back to leave. As you do so, your rustling clothes and echoing footsteps break the curtain of silence. That's when you hear it, breathing as faint as a moth's wings flapping. You look back to the corpse. The blue flame flickers at you. Its chest expands and contracts. You take a step forward, and the spark follows you like an eye. What do you do? End the episode. I want to continue, but this is a good place to stop. And also, the recording, it just hit 15 minutes, so...
Oh.
Smile. I hope...
I gotta go anyway, so this is perfect for me.
No.
What do you...
Anyway. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, like, comment, and subscribe to any of those things in any of that order. I don't really mind. And if the content on my channel wasn't enough for you, you can go and check out Pikamain's channel,
where we also read different visual novels such as Kimia and Xianye. But the main point of my channel is typically to attempt to voice act the different characters from VNs. We did do a gameplay of Dead by Daylight, but I'm not so sure if we're gonna continue that series.
Well, you just need to ask.
It's more so I am lazy.
I'll record it then, bitch. Anyway, with that out of the way, even if you're only here for this episode, I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, bitch.